stealing condoms in the streets like I was doing drugs, like on the sly. Like, I didn't give him money for it, obviously, but it was like, have you got a condom? Yeah. Hello, loves, and welcome to Love What Luck. I've been really excited to chat to you today. I don't know why. Might be because I work from home today and thinking about it, I haven't actually spoken to anyone, like with my actual spoken voice all day. Apart from my concierge guy, who I love actually. Remember in my old flat? I actually don't know if I did say, but one of the reasons I didn't want to leave my old flat was because I loved the concierge people there. They were so lovely. But actually the new concierge guy is also lovely. So big up Danny. Yeah, I think he's the only person I've spoken to today. So I've been really excited to turn the camera on and have a chat. So hope you're all doing very well. And as usual, let's get straight into the story this week. I met my ex-husband when I was 21 and we both had 2 children from previous relationships. I fell head over heels and within a year he had proposed. Everything was going brilliantly. We booked our wedding and we got married after 4 years together. Fast forward less than a year after the wedding, he became physically and emotionally abusive. The fight seemed never ending, with me always seeming to be the one to apologise. The straw that broke the camel's back was my cousin Oh my god, guys, did you just hear that thunder? If the mic didn't pick that up, I'm actually going to input that in from the camera because that was crazy. Oh my god. What sentence did that come after? It was like I'd said he became physically and emotionally abusive. And the universe was like, I'm sick of this shit. Wow, that was low-key scary. Oh, anyway, I'm trying to do stories without interruptions. Like, can the universe not listen just for this one second? Okay. So they're together, everything's going great, but less than a year after they get married, he became physically and emotionally abusive. Then she said, the straw that broke the camel's back was my cousin catching him red-handed taking another woman to stay in a hotel. He knew the game was up, so the next day he tried to save the marriage and told me everything. He'd flown her from Scotland to Northern Ireland for the night just to sleep with her. Sorry, is this guy the UK's version of Drake? Is he a low-budget rapper? For me, it was over. I had a breakdown and spent the next year very unwell. He still continued to mentally torture me, even going as far as getting in a private taxi for 70 miles with a crossbow down his coat to shoot me. What? Where do people even get crossbows from? My God. I started to enjoy and rebuild my life, and just when lockdown kicked in, I met the most kind, loving, considerate and gentle man I've ever known. We've had ups and downs, we've had a precious baby boy and also lost a baby. I'm sorry. But he was by my side, holding me together every step of the way. He just proposed on holiday in July and we've booked our wedding last week. For so long I felt absolutely worthless, but now I realise I am worthy. It was just a case of being with an absolute wrong un. So very true. I always think that when you're going through heartbreak or, you know, something's going wrong, it's so easy to blame yourself and feel worthless, but it's never ever the case. Do you know what's coming up in the news all the time at the minute, obviously, because of the whole Russell Brand allegations, but the way that he told Katy Perry that he wanted a divorce via text moments before she went on stage. Have you seen the clip of it? It's so sad. And in that moment, she's crying and she must have felt like worthless and felt like her life was over. And now she's with Orlando Bloom, living her absolute best life. The thing that I find surprising about this one is that they had 4 lovely years together and they got married, and then it was after the wedding that he started to be like this. But 4 years is a really long time to hide abuse, don't you think? Like, this is obviously him as a person, and he took 4 years for that to come out. I'm very surprised at that, and I think that's a really bad thing, because I'm just trying to think, if I was married to someone and you're kind of thinking, right, this is it, you know, nobody gets married thinking they're going to get divorced, do they? So you kind of go in there thinking that this is it forever. And then he turns into that, and I feel like when you get married and you've built that much of a life for somebody, for me, I would definitely feel very trapped. And also by that point, you're super in love with this person. And what a shit thing to do to somebody, like wait until you've locked them in good and proper before you start being abusive. Unless there were signs earlier on, maybe. I mean, there must have been. Because I can't imagine somebody completely changing, like as soon as they got married. But I don't know, she did say it was going brilliantly. I'm also confused. Genuine question. Where do you get a crossbow from? Is a crossbow like what they have in Brave, you know, the Disney film? Oh no, that's a bow and arrow. Wait, is the crossbow that really aggressive one? What the fuck? Who gets a crossbow and takes her in a taxi? That taxi driver's probably like, what the hell, mate? I would have turned him straight back down. If somebody tried to get my taxi with a wooden bow and arrow down his crotch, I'd be like, excuse me, mate, you can jog right on. How bizarre is that? Anyway, I'm glad he didn't shoot you with it and you met a lovely person. And I love when she says he was by my side, holding me together every step of the way. I just think it's just a reminder to everyone, not even in relationships, but I think with friendships or bad times in your life, I just love that nothing ever lasts. Nothing is permanent. And I find that really comforting. I really do. It's really helping with my anxiety at the minute. I don't know if I mentioned last week I felt a bit anxious. No, I can't remember if I mentioned on you. I vlogged this weekend as well, randomly. And I woke up and I just had a bit of anxiety. And what I tell myself now is that I know it's not going to last forever. So where I used to let it consume me and worry like that was my personality, now I'm like, it's okay, it will pass. And it's good to know that everything will pass. But this is actually something I wanted to talk about this week, that I think is very important to do stuff that you enjoy, but also that make you feel good. And I think this is obviously a help to making you feel more worthy and stopping anxiety and making you appreciate things. And I think when I think about, like, if somebody was to say to me now, if I was listening to this podcast from a stranger and somebody said, do the things that make you happy, I might think of more extreme stuff, like, on a weekend, I don't know, going out or going on holiday, you know, like bigger things. But actually, right, on my lunch break in work the other week, last week, I went out and I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have anywhere really to go. I thought I'll go for a walk. And then on the walk, I rang my mother, my sister, and my auntie. Now, I ring my mother a lot. My sister probably quite a lot. I don't ring my auntie much. And I spoke to them all for my full hour. Like, I spread the goal across. My full hour lunch break, I spent speaking to them. And I felt so good after it. I just felt really nice. And I thought, oh my God, that's such a simple thing. All I've done is picked up the phone to somebody and had a conversation. And, you know, my auntie at the end of the call said, oh, thank you for ringing. It's so nice to hear your voice. And sometimes my mother even says that to me. And I'm like, I speak to you every day on text, but you know, for them it's nice as well. And I think, oh yeah, how nice would it be if somebody rang me and asked me how it was? Not that I kind of feel like I miss that, but I do find that I'm definitely a texter to my core. I really don't like ringing people. I don't like having phone calls generally. But I was thinking, when you actually get over the initial thing and your conversation just starts flowing, I mean, you're not strangers, the people you ring, then it actually is really nice because you get so much more out. I know lots of us send voice notes and it's like 10-minute voice notes back and forth. Oh my God, my friends, my friend, no, Abby, who's been on the podcast, we always laugh. She sends me 5-minute voice notes, probably about 5 a day. She's like, I'm just doing this and I'm just doing this and just doing this. And then I'll voice note back, I'll text back. And it's like we're having a conversation, but spread over the day. But a phone call just kind of erases that, and I think it's a bit more of a connection. So yeah, that's just my little tip for you this week, guys. My little thought of the week. Do something simple that you enjoy. I've noticed another thing I do that makes me feel... I didn't notice it made me feel better until I noticed how shit it made me feel when I didn't do it. And for me, is if I plan to do something productive and I don't do it, it makes me feel like a big waste, worthless piece of space, like don't deserve to be a absolute slob of the earth. It makes me feel so bad about myself. Like if I said today I'm going to record my podcast and I didn't, oh my God, my brain would never let me forget it. It'd be shouting at me like Miss Trunchbull in my face, like you're a little twit. If I schedule like leisurely time, if I'd said to myself, I'm not going to record my podcast today, I'm just going to sit and watch my TV show. If I scheduled and did that, that's okay. But if I tell myself I'm going to do something and I don't do it, awful. So yeah, that's another thing to think about, guys, this week for you. Also, things I've done this week. Sorry, this is becoming a little bit long, but I did Pilates for the first time. I did some lovely breath work. That was really nice. One of you guys actually recommended breath work to me when I've mentioned anxiety before. For some reason, my anxiety's back the last couple of weeks and I don't know why. And it really bothers me when I don't know why. Even my boyfriend was like, but what's wrong? He's like, you must know what's wrong. And I'm like, I don't. Sometimes what scares me is I'm like, my body knows. My body knows and it's trying to tell me in various signs. I'm the worst. I had like a flare up on my neck, yeah. And I was like, something wrong. And my body's trying to tell me. It could literally just be, I don't know, I didn't wash shampoo out. It's a little bit cold. Could be anything. But I think because I've had anxiety before, I'm like, my body's trying to tell me something's wrong. But yeah, anyway, I have mentioned anxiety a little bit. And one of you guys recommended breath work, and it is very important. And yeah, I did a bit of Pilates as well. I'm a little Pilates girl now, Pilates. So I might even try yoga next Saturday. Honestly, who knows? Stay tuned. If I do it, no doubt I'll chuck a little picture on my Instagram, because does it count if you don't tell everybody you've done it? No. I put it on my Instagram, I mentioned it on the vlog, and now I've mentioned it on my podcast. I'm clearly very chuffed. But yeah, anyway, that's my task for you for this week, guys. Go out and do something that makes you feel good about yourself. And please let me know. Maybe if I get enough messages, I can share it on Instagram. I think that'd be really sweet. Or maybe I should do it anyway. Yes, let's commit to it. Let's commit to it. On the Instagram, I can't decide on when I'm going to do it on. So keep an eye out on both, at Love Hot Luck or at Sadie Maltby. I'll decide closer to the time. Yes, let's ask. I'm going to ask you guys what makes you feel good about yourself, and we can share them, we can get some ideas going, because it's really good to do that, and it's important to pick yourself up. So, oh my God, she's on the self-help vibe again this week. Okay, so one thing I did ask you last week, and I've been ready to share the answers, is describe your sex life in 3 words. Now guys, I'm not going to lie to you. The answers were not what I was hoping for. I wanted you guys to be, fireworks, passion, filth. No, here's some of the answers we got. Non-bloody existent. What sex life? DEAD. So if you can't even think of 3 words to describe it, you know it's bad. Somebody said better with time. Very true. Although, guys, have I ever told you about my virginity story? Here's a story that nobody asked for. And again, my mother's listening, but I can't PG my content down just because my mother's listening. I'm a grown woman. But whatever. I'm going to tell her the story. So this is the story I'm actually going to tell my child. If I ever have a daughter or a son, I'm going to tell him this story because I am honestly so proud of my virginity story. I really am. And yeah, when I look back, sex does get better with time. Of course it does. Like, of course. But my first experience with sex was honestly really, really good. So I'd been with this guy for a long time. He was my first boyfriend, my first love, yeah. And I think he was like I think he was 2 years older than me. So he wanted to wait until I was 16, very respectful. He'd never done it before. Well, apparently there's a bit of a story with that, but I'm not going to go into it. Time and a place. And actually, you'd be surprised there's not now. Anyway, so we were in love, yeah? And when we went to do it, it was planned. It wasn't like, shall we do it? Shall I just stick it in one night after a few drinks? No. We knew we wanted to do it. We'd been together a long time. We felt very ready. And his parents were in there one weekend. And he was like, I've got a free house this weekend. Do you want to stay over? And shall we do this? Which sounds so cringe, right? But when you're young, I think it's really important that it doesn't just happen rush. Like, so many people's virginity stories are shocking. I should ask you guys that as well, actually. They're shocking. So yeah, it's cringe, but at the time it's a massive deal, innit? Anyway, we were like, okay, yes, let's do it. So we were like, we have to have a condom. Again, sensible teens. If this is my daughter or son, I'd be super proud. So we're like, right, we have to have a condom. So I remember going to meet his friend, but kind of like a mutual friend at the time, dealing condoms in the streets like I was doing drugs, like on the sly. Like, I didn't give him money for it, obviously, but it was like, have you got a condom? Yeah. Because obviously we didn't have them. Nobody was going to go to the shop and buy them. He must have had it from family planning or his brother or something, I don't know. So we're on the street doing a quick little deal. I put it straight to my bag and he's like, well, good luck, have a nice time. I get a bus down, the little stagecoach bus down to where my ex lived. And I go in the room, guys. This guy had lit a candle. He'd made me a CD playlist, a Virginity playlist with all love songs on. I actually remember some of them that are on there. Some of them I'll still hear now, and I'm like, this is on my Virginity playlist. It was Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, which does make me cringe. Frankie J, Obsession, I loved that. Oh my God, another cringe one was... Do you know, I don't know the name of it, so unfortunately I am going to have to sing it. It was... Oh my God, it's actually making me vomit a bit in my mouth. Let me lick you up and... Oh! I actually can't do any more of that. If you've got the song, well done. If you haven't, sorry, I can never repeat it myself. Anyway, did the deed lovely. And, he continued to be my boyfriend for at least a year after that. We were together fully. So that's my virginity story, guys. And yeah... I don't think I needed to tell you that, but what's a little oversharing amongst friends, That's what we're here for. You tell me you were shit, I tell you mine. Okay, moving on. We've got some more. Somebody said, absolutely fucking awesome, which I'm very happy for you. Stark contrast, somebody said, only when ovulating. That made me sad. That made me sad because obviously you're in love because you want to have a baby together. But then it's also like you're only having sex for that reason, not because you're turned on by your partner or not because you fancy it. And yeah, that makes me sad. But, it might not be sad for her. I don't know. We've got another couple, totally non-existent, absolutely non-existent. What sex life? Come on, guys. Come on. Everyone needs a sex life. Everyone does. It's good for your mental health. An orgasm a day will surely keep the doctor away. I don't know if that's been proven, but it can't be bad for you, can it? Who knows? I'm not a doctor. Don't take this advice from me. Somebody said passionate emotions, fun, which I love. Loving, romantic, and equal, somebody said. I like that. Equal. I've never think to describe a sex life as equal. But if it's not equal, you sure as hell would notice, wouldn't you? If you were putting in the legwork every time and the other person was just like a big fat sandbag, or, like DJ Khaled vibes where he says he'll have a blowjob but he'll never go down on his wife. Don't even get me started on that. So equal's good. We like that. Somebody said sexy, sweet, yummy. Nice. I have a 6-year-old that swapped beds with his dad. Monsters. See, guys, kids and sex don't go together, even though you literally need sex to produce the kid. When the kid comes, they don't want it. Our friends have got, I say our friends, like mine and my boyfriend's friends have got a little boy, and she said that he hates when they get like cutchy or intimate, like he can tell when they get kissy and lovey. He hates it. He gets like embarrassed by it and he doesn't like it. Somebody else said, does not exist. I've not had sex in 3.5 years. That's just not on. I mean, if it's your own personal choice and you don't want it, then fair enough. But if you haven't had sex 3.5 years and you really want it, then I strongly advise you go out and look for it. There's plenty of ways to get it with somebody as long as it's consensual and safe and you're up for it. Because 3.5 years is a long time. Guys, the storm. Don't know if you can see it, it's wild. Anyway, that's not all the answers. So they're the ones that I got from Instagram. And then, I've got the NGL link in my profile where you can send me anonymous answers. Well, I haven't opened these because I was like, let's open them live together. So here we go. Here's the anonymous. Describe your sex life in 3 words. Jerk, jerk, squirt. Well, if the squirt is coming from the girl, I'm happy for you. If it's jerk, squirt from a guy, that doesn't sound appealing. Unless it's like in your face or your chest. No, I'm joking. Oh, am I? Who knows? Fun, passionate, and romantic. That's a really nice one. I don't know if I have romantic sex, Is the last time I had romantic sex the night I lost my virginity, guys? Has anybody ever made me a playlist or lit a candle for me other than the night I lost my virginity? Do you know what? Don't think they have. So what does that say about the calibre of men I've been with since? Ooh, surprising, rough and plentiful. Nice. Love the word plentiful there. Do you know what? That might be my favourite. Surprising's always good. Bit of rough, gotta love that. And plentiful, what more could you ask for? Ooh, I really want to know who that was from. Currently got a UTI. Say no more, hun. Say no more. All been there. I literally remember leaving a voice note to my friend once and saying, does anything say slept over a guy's more than waking up the next morning with a UTI? My God, we've all been there. Men need sat-nav. Oh no, honey, not all men. You're with the wrong man. You can teach him, although it's not on you to do that. So men, if you're listening, get familiar with a woman's body, because it can be so unenjoyable if you're not on the right spot. I'm just going to get down to the nitty and gritty. A woman can't orgasm unless she has stimulation on her clitoris. Like, it just can't happen, and men need to know this. They need to learn it. In the same way as we know what guys like, and it'll come with time. You've got to know. And if you're with somebody and you don't know, or they're not orgasming with you, you have to have the conversation. This is for guys, girls, non-binary, whatever. We have to start talking about it. I've said this a million times, I will not fake it, ever. And if I'm with somebody, I mean, look, if it's first time, probably not. But if it's even a tiny bit regular, I am telling you what I like. And it doesn't have to be awkward, and it doesn't have to be bossy, and it doesn't have to be rude or you were shit. It can be done in such an easy, simple, smooth way. It can be, I really like, or for me, I find it a turn on. Like, if somebody was doing something, it's easy for me to say, oh no, do this, or put your hand here. Like, when you're in the moment, you both turned on. So it's actually easy, and then you don't even think about it after. So next time somebody's down there, a guy or girl, and they don't quite know what they're doing, just move their hand for them or wherever, and just tell them, because you don't want to be wasting your time. There's nothing worse than going through with something and then just feeling like, well, that was pointless, that was a waste of body count. Okay, adventurous, intense, fun. Love that. Adventurous is key, I think, for a good sex life. 11 years in, and then nothing said after. So is that a good or bad? That's got to be good. That's got to be good. 11 years in, and you're still together. So I really hope that's a good one. I hope so. I'm thinking yes. Fucking non-existent. Guys, just won't do. This just won't do. Okay. Somebody really wanted to get into it, and they said, very intense, and usually gets pretty wet. Well, congrats. Ooh, this is a long one. She's gone way over the 3 words. Hitting 40 and better than ever. Been with my husband 20 plus years, and we have more sex now than ever before. And that's with having 3 kids. Oh, mic drop. This makes me really happy, because when you read the non-existent ones, and I've seen so much stuff about sex this week, which I'm going to talk about after, sometimes it does make you feel a bit shit. And I think, seeing that, I'm like, yes, sex doesn't always die after kids. It doesn't. It can still survive. Okay, have we got any more? Ooh, predictable, routine, mundane. That's not good. Right, this is what I think. It's so easy to get in a rut with predictable sex. And actually, I'm going to come back to that, because it's part of the podcast that I listen to that I want to talk about. So I'm going to come back to it. I've only got a couple of more, I think. Or was that the last one? Oh, that's the last one. Sometimes the actual NGL send me things. It's like, you've got a message. And I'm like, ooh, what's that? And then it's, you should get a tattoo. Sent with love from the team. I'm like, fuck off. Okay, so actually that's a good one to end on, because this is what I wanted to talk about. Basically, I listened to a Stephen Bartlett podcast this week. I actually don't even know if I finished it all. I don't think I did. I don't know, can't remember. Anyway, there was a therapist on there, and obviously she was talking about sex and intimacy. And she said that intimacy and fantasy cannot coexist naturally. So when you first get with somebody, it's all guns blazing. Obviously, you know how it is. It's all super exciting because they knew, and you don't know where they're going to touch. You don't know what they're going to do. Everyone's on their best behaviour, looking their best. And you know how it is when you first start seeing somebody, especially somebody that you fancy and that you've got that sexual chemistry with, yeah? And then over time, love grows, and then you get proper intimacy. That's when, like, you wake up and your boyfriend's breath smells, but you don't care. You'll still kiss him, or you'll come back and, I don't know, shove his feet in your face or his socks, or you see some disgusting stuff, people farting and all the rest of it. And I hear stories about people like having poos in front of each other and all the rest of it. And then that's intimacy. When you love a person so much that they can do whatever, like nothing really disgusts you with them, and you don't get the ick because you love them, the same as like your child, your parents, like whatever, your friends. Like there's some stuff that, you know, obviously it's different for everyone, but generally that don't disgust you because you love them. And that's what we strive, not thrive. Jesus. That's what we, generally speaking as a society, strive for, is intimacy, because that is real love. So you can have the sexual fantasy with far more people than you can have the intimacy with. That's just life. And obviously lots of us, or most of us at least in society, are taught that, you know, we go after the intimacy part of it and love. But that can sometimes be such a sex killer. And even I've noticed, right, the other day I was in this tight play suit pyjamas, yeah, not sexy or anything. They literally had like flowers on them, but very, very tight and very short. Again, not sexy, but tight fitting and short. I know that seems like a contrast, but I just have to put that out there. I wasn't wearing it thinking like, oh, this is gonna turn my boyfriend on. It wasn't one of those, but it was tight. Anyway, I leant over to pull the curtain shut, and he'd obviously looked and seen my bum and thought it looked good. But rather than being like he would have probably when we first got together, like, oh, look at your ass in that, or I don't know, just done something flirty. Instead, he said, look at that pert little bum. Look at that little bum. I'm like, if my bum looks good, I don't know, give her a slap or something. Let's turn it up a bit. Like, what is it? Girls, and we all do it, where like you turn your partner after a while into something cute. Like, look at that pert little. I'm like, just ram it if you want it. I don't want to be cute. I don't want to have a cute bum. Or do I? I don't know. If he listens to this, he'd be mortified. But that's like what we do. Or sometimes he'll just pull my boobs out. Or, you know, like when you're with your partner after a while, you're just naked in front of them. You know, they come out of the shower and they're just naked in front of you. Or you just have a laugh with each other, which is so good. But then it loses it a bit. And another thing that the therapist said on this podcast was, do you know, if you've got kids with somebody or even dogs and you say, oh, where's daddy? Or where's mommy? She said that causes an issue, unless you're into mommy and daddy vibes, obviously, which I don't understand that. But she said by that, you don't want to have sex with a parent. So by calling them that, you're kind of taking them away from somebody that you want to have sex with. And that is what loads of couples do as well, is like the cutesy thing. Like, you go all cute. But then when you have sex, I can't speak for everyone, but I don't think you want that when you're sleeping with somebody. Usually when you have sex, it's very different. And, you know, you can be with somebody for so long. But I think when you sleep with them, you do really get into it. So I think the biggest thing is trying to bring the attitude you have when you actually have sex out of the bedroom into like your everyday life more. I think it's really easily done when you don't see each other. So like if me and my boyfriend are apart, if one of us is on holidays or away for a couple of days, then that's always really good because you're not around each other, you're not talking about your day so much, especially if you're on holidays, you haven't got like the stress of your day or whatever, and it can be very hot and then it's a big build up. So that's always a really easy way to do it. Like next time your partner's away, send them a little picture or send them a little message. You know, it doesn't even have to be anything super rude, but it can just be like, oh, I miss you, or well, that's not hot at all, is it? But still trying to be PG, because I know we can't go too rude on this podcast. Or can we? I mean, if you want to go ruder, let me know. I always toy with the idea of doing Patreon for that. But yeah, I think that's one thing that you can do, is definitely like send a message. I just think it's hard. It is hard. This is the first time I've lived with someone, so I can definitely see the difference in that, because you do see them all the time. But there's definitely ways to go about it. And I think another thing is, as always, being open about stuff. Like for me, it's a really big turn on, and lots of the stuff that you guys said in there, like when it's adventurous and surprising, is when it's new and when you both want to try something new. So you both say like, oh, do you know, I haven't done this, or I've always really liked the idea of this, and just like try something a bit different, I think is key to spicing something up, because a routine and anything just gets boring, doesn't it? It can be anything, but you do the same thing enough times, you will lose interest in it, especially if it's the same every single time. Like, you go first, then me, and yeah, it's just, it can get boring. And I think it's a big problem. I think actually having a really good sex life in long-term relationships is quite rare. Like, I guarantee you some of the people saying non-existent in these answers, I guarantee you some of them are in relationships, 100%. So yeah, that was a really good one. If you've got any other like topics that you think you want to talk about, or any answers, like the anonymous answers are always better. So if you think of anything else, just DM me, come and DM me. And let me know. Well, I'll definitely do the public one of doing something that makes you feel good, because I think that's nice. And maybe next week I will do the virginity one and see if anybody else wants to share their virginity story. We will see. I'm sure that'll be an anonymous one. Anyway, please also, guys, remember to follow, subscribe, like. As I said, my engagement's really low at the minute, so all your help is appreciated to get the podcast out. And behind the scenes, I am getting ready for a little bit of a revamp. So if there's anything that you really like that I do, or you dislike, I mean, please be kind to me, because I'm fragile. Please don't be mean and say I hate it when you fucking do this, you piece of shit. If there's something that you've enjoyed or whatever, or that you don't really like, then let me know so I can bring it forward into my new little revamp that I've got in my mind. You might notice I've got a new mic, so it's all starting. Because obviously I do this for people to listen. So if I do anything that you don't like and you stop listening, then literally there's no point in the podcast going forward. And that would be my worst nightmare. So yes, come follow me at Sadie Maltby, at Love What Luck. My email's in the show notes, wherever. Just come and contact me, comment on YouTube, whatever. You know how to contact me, guys. Actually, no, this is what I'm going to finish on. I saw an old message when I opened those anonymous ones. Before I did it, I went in to get the link. Not you need to know any of these logistics. When I opened it, I missed a message. So this is anonymous. I have no idea if this person still listens, but if you do, I'm sorry that I missed it, and I'm going to read it out today. I don't even know when they sent it. They said, a red flag I wish I didn't ignore. I started dating a guy who had 3 French bulldogs. He had been single for 6 months and was really full on. He told me he was driving his dogs to a friend he'd had a fling with, as he was working away and couldn't commit to them. I should have ran, would you have? Okay, so this tells me that was a lie. And yeah, he might have been driving them to his friend, but he was also staying over with his friend and doing the deed. That's what this suggests. Would I have done anything about that? Would I have ran? No. Do you know what? This is what I'm going to say to you, and I hope you are still listening. I don't think we should beat ourselves up for ignoring red flags or feeling stupid for believing lies, because I think it's a really nice thing to go into a relationship or a situationship, whatever, with a blank slate and thinking the best of people. Because if you go into anything thinking they're doing something wrong or they lying to me, then you could ruin a perfectly good thing. You could get with a guy next and he said, I'm just going to see my friend, and it's a girl. And then because of what's happened here, you're going to be like, no, you're sleeping with her. And you'll make yourself crazy. You'll torture yourself. You'll probably ruin the relationship. And it might not even be true. So I don't think you should have run. I don't think I would have ran. And don't beat yourself up over that. You did what you did because you saw the good in somebody, and you haven't got big trust issues. And if somebody tells you, I had a fling with them before, but now they just look after my dogs, then all you can do is appreciate their honesty and think, right, okay, that's that. It's so easy to look back on something and wish you'd done it differently, but there's literally no point. So yeah, definitely don't feel bad. I would have done exactly the same. I probably would have had my back up a little bit and maybe asked a couple of questions. But if somebody wants to lie to you, they're going to continue lying to you. So there's no point thinking you should have done better, you should have ran. It's done, and that's that. Okay, so that's where I'm actually going to end on this week, guys. If you like the episode, please share it to your friend, your Instagram story. Remember to follow, give me a review, subscribe, etc, etc. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and I'll speak to you next week.